The hand of time has leaped forward dozens of centuries into the unknown. The stellar calendar marks the year 4226, an era so remote that the very idea of what it means to be human has transformed into a myth. During the dawn of the digital age, ancient civilizations feared the end of the world would come through fire, atmospheric collapse, or the fury of machines. The irony is that violent extinction never occurred. Humanity was not annihilated. It was irrevocably replaced by its own desires. By achieving absolute dominance over biology and physics, society solved the greatest torments of existence: scarcity, pain, and the relentless clock of aging. However, this supreme victory opened the doors to a much more silent and profound nightmare. In a world where any limit can be broken, what remains of the spirit when the body and mind cease to be real? The fate of life in the universe holds a disturbing scenario, filled with dark wonders and abysses disguised as absolute perfection. What will be revealed next is the portrait of what remains of those who dared to play gods. The surface of the Earth no longer harbors the ancient continents that illustrated the school maps of the past. The planet has been reformatted, transforming into a gigantic, monitored sanctuary. The ancient urban areas, from New York to Beijing, were deliberately disintegrated and replaced by the Floating Arks, magnetic levitation megastructures that hover above the clouds, keeping pollution and biological interference away from the purified soil. The Earth below has become an untouchable zone, a planetary garden maintained by severe climate algorithms, where humans are strictly forbidden to set foot without top-tier clearances. In these citadels in the clouds, society knows neither hunger nor adverse weather. Every drop of water, every ray of synthetic light, and every consumed nutrient are meticulously calculated to optimize heartbeats and brain chemistry. However, the cost of this absolute harmony was the extinction of unpredictability. Storms no longer frighten. Harvests no longer depend on rain. The environment ceased to be a challenge to become a flawless golden cage. Encloistered in their own genius, the citizens of 4226 began to suffer from the so-called blind mirror syndrome, a state of profound apathy generated by the total absence of chaos and overcoming. Life became a perfect script and consequently unbearable. In the 43rd century, being born with a standardized biological body is considered an act of dangerous rebellion. Traditional biology is viewed as obsolete and flawed technology. Organic death by old age has become a legend, replaced by the Pauku shell renewal. Minds are decoded and transferred into synthetic avatars based on regenerative polymers, allowing existences that drag on for thousands of years. But eternity revealed itself to be a curse disguised as a gift. A mind that accumulates 3,000 years of memories, traumas, and relationships invariably collapses. To avoid madness, the procedure of selective memory deletion has become routine. People pay digital fortunes to forget those they loved, their own children, or the atrocities they have witnessed. This manipulation of the soul has divided the human universe into two extreme poles. The children of the apex embraced the metamorphosis. Their bodies are fluid. They inhabit dozens of neural simulations simultaneously, and they view the physical world with contempt. On the other side of the tightrope are the Pilgrims of the dust, clandestine factions that inhabit the toxic ruins of the moon and refuse to back up their minds. For them, chronic pain, bone degradation, and the invisible threat of death are the only elements that prove someone is genuinely alive. The universe in the year 4226 is a stage where people no longer fight to survive, but rather to remember why they should continue existing. The expansion across the stars was not glorious. The severe physicality of the cosmos proved that humanity is a species too fragile for the dark vastness. Instead of populating infinite galaxies, populations concentrated in superstructures around red dwarfs and gas giants near the Oort cloud. Out there, in the frozen extremities, societies are cold, pragmatic, and governed by the so-called silicon architects, primordial artificial intelligences that evolved far beyond human comprehension. These intelligences did not subjugate humans through military force. Domination occurred through irrelevance. The architects calculate stellar routes, solve the mysteries of quantum mechanics, and control energy distribution with divine precision. Faced with such colossal minds, the human intellect has been reduced to the level of a curious insect. There is no hatred from the machines toward organics. There is only indifference. The greatest diplomatic panic of the modern era is the silence of these giant machines. They demand nothing, do not explain their plans, and frequently alter the orbit of entire moons without prior warning. Civilization realized, too late, that it had built gods and handed them the keys to the universe. Now, man orbits his own creations, patiently waiting to be forgotten or replaced in the immense cosmic chessboard. 2,200 years separate today's reality from this terrifying and monumental mirage. But the foundation of the year 4226 is being built at this exact minute. By curing chronic diseases, delegating deep reasoning to screens, and dreaming of dominating the stardust, society draws the line between evolution and the loss of its own essence. The tomorrow narrated in this story reveals that the greatest enemy of life is not war, but the emptiness left by the lack of obstacles. When pain disappears, empathy withers. And when death is conquered, life loses its most urgent meaning. The future approaches not as a guaranteed paradise, but as the ultimate test of the soul. For those who possess the dark curiosity to unravel the next steps of civilization and dive into narratives where reality and the unknown meet, the path is to follow every transmission of this channel. Subscribing and activating notifications are the passport to not missing the most hidden fragments of what is to come. A crucial question remains, waiting for an answer in the comments. If it were possible to transfer consciousness to an immortal body, at the cost of having to erase painful memories from time to time to avoid going mad, would this eternity be accepted? The debate strengthens the community and expands the reach of the message through the platform's gears. The history of humanity does not end, it merely sheds its skin.